Hi everyone, it's Deja. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. I know it's been a couple of weeks since I posted a video, so I'm really excited to share this new video with all of you. In today's video, I will be showing you how to make stencils for cards. Here's the card I made to inspire all of you. If you love making cards and using your Cricut cutting machine, then please keep on watching. I'm starting off in Cricut Design Space using a blank canvas. On the left side panel, I am going to select shapes and then select a square. And then I like to close the sidebar. I'm going to change my square to white just because it's easier for me to work with. And then I'm going to go up to the top to click on the little lock button to unlock it and change the dimensions of my square. I'm going to change the width to 4 1/4 and the height to 5 1/2. And then I'm going to make sure to lock that again so that it doesn't accidentally change on me. I will be going back to the left side panel and select Images, and then I'm going to click on Advanced Search. I've already done this project, so I am going to select Fall Background, or you can type in Fall Background, and there are so many different designs to choose from, literally tons and tons of them. But I've already chosen one that I really liked, and I'm going to keep scrolling down until I find the one that I really like. And it's this one right here with all of these different pumpkins. Click on the image and then it will pop up to give you examples of different ways of how this image can be used on different materials. On top, you will see the little number code that is assigned to this specific image. So if you wanted to use this image, it is right here. I will also include this in the description box. And then to add this to your canvas, simply click on the little green tile that says Add to Canvas. Now that it is on my canvas, I am going to readjust this image to match the same dimensions as my white square or rectangle. And I'm going to unlock the lock button on top and change the dimensions to the width to be 4 1/4 and the height to 5 1/2 so that they both align or are the same size. So before we start making our stencils, I do want to quickly show you all the different layers that are in this image. And as you can see, there are 6 layers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And each layer has a different design or image. So as you can see here, if I click on the little I button to hide it, the layers will be hidden and then you can see which layer is which. And this is how we are going to create our stencils. We are going to need a total of 6 stencils in order to create the card that I showed you earlier. So now I am going to zoom out to make my canvas a little bit smaller so that you can see everything that I am doing. I need to make 6 stencils, so that means I am going to duplicate this white square 6 times. I'm using my MacBook, so if you're on a MacBook, you're going to click on Command D to duplicate these squares or rectangles. If you're on a Windows computer, you would be simply doing Control D instead of Command D. And then I'm going to duplicate the image 1 time and drag this image over to the front of the first square. And then you want to select both the image and the first square. Go to the pencil icon on the top left corner, and then you want to go to the Align menu option and click on Center. So now I have my first image and my first square aligned perfectly in the center. And then to figure out which layer I want to do first. And so I just you can do this however you want, but I basically wanted to do all the pumpkins first. And so I am going to just hide everything first. And I'm going to start off with these 3 pumpkins. And because I've already aligned them, I don't need to align it again. I know that it's aligned in the center, so I will select both the image and the square or rectangle. Go down to the bottom right corner where it says Combine, click on that, and then click the option that says Subtract. And now you have your first stencil. Now I'm going to go over to the left side panel and click on Text. And I'm not going to change any font or anything, but I'm going to type in the number 1 and drag it to the corner of the first stencil. You can put it anywhere, but I just like to put it at the corner. And then I'm going to select the square image and the number and then go down and click on slice. And that will punch the number 1 into that first stencil card. In Cricut Design Space, it is going to create a duplicate of that number when you use the slice option. You can also do subtract as well. I don't know why I just decided to do slice. And so now we're going to repeat the same steps for the second stencil. I'm going to duplicate that pumpkin image, and then I'm going to bring it over to the top of that second square, select both the image and the square, go to the pencil option. I'm going to align both the image and the square in the center so that they're perfectly aligned. Then I'm going to make sure I click on the correct image or grouping, and then toggle open and make sure that I hide the next sets of images in the sequence that I don't want. And so I already did these 3 pumpkins, so I'm going to hide them. And then I'm going to keep the second one open and hide the rest. And once that's done, I am going to select the image again and the white square, and I'm going to go down to the bottom where it says combine, click on that, and then click on subtract. And now we have our second stencil. And to make sure we don't get confused, I'm going to click on text, type in number 2, drag that over to the corner, select the number and the second stencil, click on slice. And then Cricut Design Space always creates duplicate images of anything you slice. So just remove these, click on them, delete them, and now you have your second stencil. And I'm just going to repeat the process for the rest of the stencils. And I'll play music at this point. If you feel like you need to see it again, go ahead and rewind. All right, now we are done. We've made 6 stencils and we're ready to cut them out. And so at this point, you can go ahead and make sure that you count all your layers. You should have no additional layers. You should just have 6 stencils. All right, and now I'm going to go click on Make, and it's going to ask you to save. You should go ahead and save your project so that you don't lose any of your work. I'm just going to label this as Pumpkin Stencils for Card, and then I'm going to save this into my card file so that it stays in the correct collection, and then click on Save. And then next I am going to continue to make it. I am actually going to make this on my Cricut Maker 3. You can make this on the Cricut Explore machines as well. I do not recommend this on the Cricut Joy or Joy Extra, and the reason for that is because I feel like with the stencil materials that I'm cutting, you just need something that's going to be a little bit more powerful and be able to use more force to cut. All right, so the settings that I'm using, I should say the first settings that I'm using is I went to Browse All and I typed in Mylar, and then I clicked More Pressure. And I will show you that later I do change the settings because this setting was not the greatest. At least for me, it was not the greatest. I purchased these stencil sheets from Amazon, and it is by the brand Ego Sky. In this packaging, there are 12 sheets that measures 12 by 12 inch, and each sheet is 7 millimeters, which is 1,000 of an inch. I don't even know my math at this point, but all to say, it is really, really good quality. It's really thick, and it feels like professional stencils that you would buy from the store or from a company. And so it's really nice. And here I have it all placed on a brand new standard grip mat, and it's ready to go. Then I'm just going to click on this flashing button to let my machine take it in and get it all ready to be cut. Once it's ready, I'm just going to click on the go button to let it start cutting out the stencils. Now I want to quickly talk about my first cut settings. Remember I told you all that I chose Mylar with more pressure. I did my first cut and I checked, and here you'll see that I did check the corner to make sure that it cut through, and it did not. So I did send this back into my machine, and I did 5 more passes before it kind of cut through. And that was kind of frustrating to me, so I wanted to change it up. So I went back with the second round. I chose genuine leather, so therefore I would have to change my tool to a deep point blade. And that I only had to do 2 passes and it was perfect. So this is the second sheet that I cut. The first sheet that I did had 4 stencils. This is the second one. It had only 6 stencils. And this cut out perfectly, and I'll show you really quick. Again, this was the genuine leather with the deep point blade, and I did 2 passes, and just look at how all the images were cut out. It came out really, really nice. I did not struggle at all. You just kind of pop out all the, extra little pieces and it'll come off. Now there are some really intricate lines because the pumpkins, so you do still have to be kind of, careful that you're not pulling them out too quickly, otherwise you might rip. Because again, these stencil sheets are, plastic, so you do want to be very careful. So I'll show you how this looked compared to the first sheet that I cut, the first 4 stencils that I cut using the Mylar cut settings. And again, this wasn't too bad. I mean, it looks like it's coming out slow, but it's because I purposely did that. I didn't want to rip those little intricate pieces inside the pumpkin. And I'm speeding it up here so that you don't have to watch this boring part of me just trying to pop out all of the little inside pieces. And here's the second one. Look at that, it just popped out. I didn't have to try too hard to try to pop them out. And let's go ahead, and we've got stencil number 3, stencil number 4. Now here are the first ones that I cut. These were with the Mylar setting, and as you can see, these were really, really tough. Even though I did 5 passes, it was still a struggle to get these little inside pieces out, and I'm not going to lie, I did not film the rest of me popping these out because it took me about 45 minutes. I'm not going to lie, it took me about 45 minutes to pop out all of these little middle pieces out of the 4 stencils. So here I am with all of the stencils all ready to go. I took out all of the middle pieces and now I'm ready to make the card. I am going to make a A2 size card, which is 4.5, or I'm sorry, 4.25 by 5.5, and it's just going to be a regular side folding panel or card base. I'm going to put that to the side, and then I'm actually going to shade in my stencils over this little piece of 80-pound cardstock that also measures 4.25 by 5.5. And these are the color inks that I have chosen to use. These are from Concord and 9th, and these are just some basic blending brushes that I got off of Amazon. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to secure that 80-pound piece of cardstock to the back of my self-healing mat. Now, I'm using a self-healing mat. Usually I love to make cards using my glass craft mat, but I was filming this at night and I was getting this terrible glare from my light on my glass mat, so that's why I'm using this self-healing mat. Okay, so I'm going to secure the first stencil on top of that white piece of cardstock just so that it doesn't shift and move while I'm blending my color inks on there. And so I have a couple of colors to choose from. I have Clementine and I have Spiced Cider. I'm going to start with the Clementine first, and then I will go back with the Spiced Cider to put a little bit more of extra shading on the bottom of the pumpkins. So here I am just using my orange brush, and I'm just going to wipe some excess ink from previous projects on my little pink lint cloth. And then I'm just going to go ahead and go in and start ink blending. I love Concord and 9th's ink pads. They are just really good. I'm not sponsored by them at all. And you probably see me use a lot of their products, but that's just because I genuinely really, really like their products. and their style, it's just really right up my alley. And they are the only ink pads that I have. I don't own any other companies. I do have a bunch of oxide inks, but anyways, that's besides the point. All I'm saying is that I like these colors. And so I'm going with more traditional colors here. This next color is grapefruit, is it? No, it's Creamsicle. Sorry, it's Creamsicle. And I'm just going to keep coloring, and I'm gonna stop talking and just play some music while you relax and watch me stencil my card. I am so excited for this. It is the revealing part of our card front. And look at how beautiful this turned out. I love this so much. It's so pretty. And this is a fun card that you can use over and over and over again. You can make so many pretty cards, so many different pumpkins. Now, I didn't like the edges because I did get a lot of ink on there, and this part is totally optional. This is just personal preference, but I decided to trim this down just a little bit, and so I grabbed one of my square dies, and I'm just going to trim off about 1/8 of an inch on all sides just to get a cleaner edge before I tape this to my card base. And here you'll see I'm going to remove it, and it just looks a lot cleaner. Now, if that part doesn't bug you at all, you don't have to trim it down. I'm just a little bit sloppy, and I like the cleaner edges. So here it looks. I did also add some gold pigment ink. I added a little bit of water and I sprinkled it all over so that it'll have a really, really nice shine to it. So I did do that off camera, and I also had this Happy Fall die and what do you call it? Stamps. This is from Concord and Ninth. This is from a different bundle, but I just had this and I didn't want to waste my time making extra stuff off of Cricut Design Space, so I had this already, and I'm sure you probably have a ton of really cute sentiments in your stash as well. So you can do something that says grateful or thankful for you. I just happen to have the Happy Fall. And so I quickly stamped that out using the color Pimento, and then I used the die cut to cut it out with this ribbon die cut. And then I just added some adhesive foam tape to the back of this, and I had a really hard time deciding where to put it, but eventually I settled down on this spot. I just think it looks really cute right here. And then to finish up with this card, I added 3 strips of double-sided foam tape to the back of this card front. I removed the backing part, and then I just tried my best to center it on the card base as best as I can. And then I pressed it down firmly. I flipped it over and pressed it some more to make sure that it is completely adhered to the card base. And this is the final look of our card. I hope you can see that pigment gold ink, but splatter in the back. It's really, really pretty. Happy fall, and I really hope that you enjoyed this somewhat tutorial. I'm not the best teacher, but I just was so inspired. I really wanted to show all of my viewers that you can make this at home. You don't have to buy all these fancy stuff. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you all in the next video. Bye!